All right, welcome folks. Welcome to CODEC, episode number 20. My name is Peter James, and I am a professor here on campus, and we are coming to you live, or not, maybe not live actually, from the beautiful College of DuPage, located in Glen Ellen, Illinois, about 30 minutes west of Chicago, one of the best community colleges in the country, if I might say so myself. Of course, I do work here, so I have to say that as well. But we also have a great studio audience here. Studio audience, let me hear. We got a very entertained studio audience today, of course, as well. Very excited about some of the stuff that we got going here on campus. We have a big maker market going on pretty soon on April 11th. Those of you watching, I encourage you to come out, support our students who will be selling their entrepreneurial products and services. And of course, and today actually we have a special guest in Schneider who's going to be talking to our students as well. But without further ado, let me not even go into all the detail about all the happenings around here. I'm so excited that we have a special guest today. And we have Katelyn from Garage Door Woodcraft. I'm sorry, I knew I would slaughter that, so forgive me. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good. So this is our 20th episode, so actually that makes you about our 20th guest. So you
cool.
Just act like you're an old pro at all of this as well. So thank you for being here, first of all.
Thank you for having me.
So Garage
Dog Woodcraft. Yep.
Tell us about that.
Well, my husband and I grew up in the area. We're both from Downers Grove. We actually went to all of the same schools that our kids are going to now.
That's scary, right?
Yeah, it is a little scary. So we ended up basically meeting after I completed my first year of college here.
You went to school here?
Yeah, I did actually. We both attended Downers Grove North.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated a year early, and I knew you looked familiar. I graduated a year early and came straight to COD. So after
cool.
Finishing my first year here, he and I started dating. You know, we ended up having our first daughter together.
Nice.
We now have 3. We've been together for about 10 years now.
Congrats.
So thank you.
Do you have 3 girls?
We do have 3 girls.
I got 3 girls also. Oh my goodness.
It causes a lot of gray hair.
It does, and guns and a whole lot of other
Yeah,
stuff.
that
I'm not
too.
going to talk about it right now, though. It's probably unethical.
You might get in trouble for that.
I'm sure your husband and I have a lot in common.
Yes, you do.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I apologize for him not being here today. Our youngest is in the hospital, so he missed work on Monday, so that's why he's not here today.
Well, thank you for coming.
No problem. She's doing better now,
Awesome.
So we're happy. But anyway, we got started basically, he and I flipped our first home together, which was a condo over in Woodridge.
Okay.
And so we flipped that thing. It was a complete gut, so
Wow.
we got our hands dirty there. And then we ended up basically flipping our current home,
Wow.
another complete gut job, and most of the work we did on our own with friends and family helping us. So we that was my first take on, kind of like the whole DIY type thing.
Yeah.
When I first started going to school here, I was going to school for interior design, and my husband was going to school for construction management when he was here.
Sure.
So we had a little bit of a background in that, so we've always been really handy, really creative, really artistic. We like making stuff, like getting our hands dirty.
So you guys were flipping homes, gutting them out.
We weren't flipping homes as a business.
Right.
We did it just because we needed a place to live, and finances were tight, and we had family helping us out. So we kind of just fell into that by happenstance. We needed a place to live, so we needed to make it nice.
And I'm sure that's good experience, because I'm sure a lot of students have thought about it. Some know people who do it. So that's always one of the questions that I get about flipping homes. Are you into real estate? So it's kind of cool to hear that you kind of were knee deep in it.
Yeah, so that was basically our first experience with working on a budget, and a very, very tight budget at that, and trying to make these huge things happen. So once we finally got settled into our current home, we finally had a garage, finally had a yard, we could do big projects that we wanted to do. So my husband's sister asked if we could build her a bed. And
wait, just out the blue?
Yeah, just out of the blue. We still were storing like construction supplies in our garage and everything like that.
Sure.
So I didn't have a parking space. So she's like, hey, I really want this bed. I want to buy myself a new mattress. Do you think you could build it for me? So Garrett took a look at it, and he's like, yeah, I could build that. So they go out and buy the wood, and he builds this beautiful bed. It's actually up on our website and our Facebook page.
Wow.
It's one of the first pieces he ever built to that magnitude. But so he finished that. We got it into her room and everything like that. And so one day he had, like, I took the kids shopping or something with my mom all day long. And he's at home sitting around not really having anything to do because he just finished this big project. Well, there's scrap wood left over from this bed. So when I pull in the driveway that day, there's this beautiful, like, farmhouse coffee table, unfinished, but it's built, just sitting in my driveway.
Wow.
I'm like, where did this come from? He's like, I built it. I'm like, you did, huh?
Wow.
He's like, yeah, I did. I'm like, this is really cool. So we basically decided, you know, we were going to keep it because we still had furniture from when we first moved in, you know, crappy particle board furniture that we didn't really like, that had seen better days. So we're like, okay, well, we've got this new house, so we'll have a new coffee table too.
Wow.
And my interior design side of myself,
kicked in.
Yeah, kicked in. I was like, I really like this. I'm like, could you build me a dining room table? He's like, yeah, I could build you a dining room table. I'm like, but I want it to be round. So he built me a round dining room table.
Wow.
So then, you know, one project came in after
Sanding
another.
and everything?
Yeah, sanding.
Wow.
And we build all of our furniture out of just regular construction lumber, which a lot of people don't do because they don't think the quality is as good.
Yeah.
And my take on it is we've never been in a position where we've had, you know, a plethora of money to spend on nice things.
Sure.
So we put our skills to use and we just, you know, we see something that we want. We can't necessarily afford it, but we know how to build it.
Wow.
So we take it and we do it.
So very cool. So that's kind of cool. So how long have you, so obviously that was one thing and it carried over into a ton of stuff. So how long have you guys been doing that type of woodwork now?
Officially, as a business, we've actually just completed our very first year of business this past February 14th.
So how was, happy Valentine's
Yep.
Day. So how was that first year, and even leading up to that first year, how was it difficult? How has the business part of it been challenging? And you know, of course, as an entrepreneurship club, we want to hear about all the ups and the downs, what's been challenging about it.
Well, the most challenging part about it was before we really turned it into a business and decided, you know, this is what we want to do and this is the direction we want to go in. I was actually waitressing and working as an event coordinator for a local restaurant.
Cool.
And that lasted, I was doing it part-time and lasted about 8 months, and then they decided they wanted to close because they didn't get busy fast enough.
Right, right.
So 2017 rolls around, it's New Year's Day, and I'm out of a job. We've got 3 kids we got to feed. So we had been talking about, you know, let's make this a full-time thing. So we kind of looked at each other and we're like, well, I guess now's the time. Because it didn't really make sense for me to go back and, you know, try and find another job. I could have picked up a waitressing job like that. But just logistics-wise, with 3 kids and him working full-time, it didn't make sense.
That's actually a good lesson for all of our students. That there's never a perfect time to start with.
No, not at all.
None of the stars ever line up, so you just kind of make the time and say, let's go ahead and do that. So it sounds like that's what you did. And what was your role kind of in it? Are you doing any sanding at all?
I do. Actually, I do a lot of hand painting. I will get my hands dirty and do some refinishing projects and stuff like that. I do some upholstery and some sewing as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But my main role in everything is the customer service aspect of it. Garrett does really the behind-the-scenes, hands dirty work. I'm not inclined to the whole mathematical planning, and I'm gonna put a hole here and a hole here, and it's gonna fit. That's not me.
Sure.
But I have been able to pick up some things, you know, in the last year or two working with him. So I do get my hands dirty, but it's really me handling the whole office aspect and him mostly building.
What about the sales and marketing aspect of it? You know, do you guys have a specific target market that you identify, or people that you kind of advertise to specifically, or how do you market yourselves?
Well, we try to market ourselves to just about anyone. You know, most people nowadays are, you know, in their 20s, 30s, they own a home. There are some people that are younger. It's really just anybody who owns a piece of furniture or wants a nice sign for their bedroom. So we don't really tailor to a specific audience. We try to, you know, take in whatever jobs we can get. And lately it's been a plethora, and we're several weeks out, and it's going great. So we're still in that infancy of like figuring out how we want to go about this. He and I don't really have a business background at all. So we're just trying to make it work. But our target audience, I would say, is really just about anybody.
Okay, good stuff. I want to be able to open up the floor for questions for our studio audience who's here. So as you guys think of questions for Katelyn here, please don't hesitate to jump in. Make sure you speak up so that our folks behind the camera can hear you guys. Any questions at all?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had one. What was your primary way of getting like advertising out so people actually know about you in the first place?
So basically what we did for the first year, I built our website. We did I'm like the one millennial in the world that didn't know what a domain name was until last year.
Wow.
So I got my feet wet there too. But I built our website, we put together a Facebook page, and basically just invited everyone that we knew on Facebook to like our Facebook page. And other than that, really, we bought some car magnets to go on the back of our truck and on the back of my car, and bought some business cards. And other than that, I have a website that I've used to like furnish our house with new furniture because it's cheap. It's called nextdoor.com, and it's a community website where people in your neighborhood are on there looking for services, looking to sell something, things like that. So I make a daily habit of going through that at least once or twice a day, seeing if anybody's like, hey, I'm looking for somebody to build a table, I'm looking for somebody to build bookshelves, stuff like that. So if I see something like that, I'll message them, say, hey, might be able to help. But other than that, we really haven't spent any type of money on advertising, and it's really just been word of mouth other than that. So
Good for you. Good for you. That means you're doing a good job.
It means
people
we
are
have a
passing the
good
word.
reputation.
Yeah.
So
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Did you have the reviews
I'm sorry?
in your website? Do you have reviews?
We do. That is one thing that we are
That's right.
That's one thing we are currently struggling with is follow through with our customers. We do have a few customers who have filled out reviews for us on our Facebook page, but we've had probably close to 50 jobs over the last year, and only 3 or 4 of them have written reviews. Now, a lot of those jobs are repeat customers, so we do know that we're doing a good job there because people are coming back to us. It's just not necessarily people who are on Facebook.
So, I mean, about the negative review, you have a negative review.
No, we do not have any negative reviews on our
But
website.
you are open if you have a negative review. I mean, if somebody wants to write something bad, you are okay with this. He can be able to write a bad review.
Right. It is a public page, and if somebody were to have a negative review, they would be able to write a negative review on there. And if somebody were to have a negative experience, which we strive very hard not to provide our customers with, if that were to happen, I would definitely follow through with the customer and say, hey, I'm sorry you felt this way. Is there something that we can do to remedy this situation? I believe very strongly in treating your customers the way that you want to be treated by another company.
And you are able to exchange something?
Yes, not on the Facebook page necessarily, but you are able to see who writes what reviews. So in that respect, you will be able to find their contact information.
And about your product, you exchange things if somebody is not satisfied with this product?
Yes.
You exchange this?
We don't necessarily exchange them, but we do offer services such as, if we build a table for somebody and it cracks for some reason, we will repair it at no cost.
That's great customer service as well. Yes.
What formal education have you received or your partner?
Well, it's really funny that you asked that. Like I said, I graduated from Downers Grove North in 3 years rather than 4, and I came right here and only completed 1 year of my education at COD before we had our first daughter. So it actually took me 4 years to get my associate's degree from COD. And that was mainly because I was working part-time and raising a child and planning a wedding also. So, I mean, things happen in their own time, but as long as you put your nose down and, you keep pushing forward, you'll make it there. Actually, my husband has his high school diploma and some college education. He also has his technical certificate in machining from Tooling and Manufacturing Association. So that was something that his company paid for while he was working, and he was able to learn a trade while also going to school.
So this goes to show that you don't have to wait until you finish or you graduate to get something going and still be successful. So that's actually you're living proof to a certain extent as well. Yes.
Do you plan on expanding the team anytime soon?
When you start getting busy, when you start getting really busy.
Our kids constantly will drive by like a open storefront that's not occupied, and they'll be like, "Oh, we could turn that into a garage dog." I'm like, "Yeah, mommy and daddy aren't there yet," which I always get a kick out of because they really believe in it. But as of right now, we don't plan on expanding the team. Eventually, we would like to make this a full-time thing to where my husband doesn't have to go to a full-time job. This is just our only income. So maybe down the road, yes, but in the near future, no, I don't see that happening.
Where'd you get the name Garage Dog from?
It's kind of a funny story. We had 2 female dogs when I was pregnant with our third child, and all in that, we were moving into this new house that we just spent 6 months remodeling. So maybe a month or 2 after we had moved in, I saw this post on the nextdoor.com website, and it's this super cute, adorable dog. He looked a whole lot smaller on the picture than when we met him in person.
Right.
But it was the owner had suddenly become allergic, and he was either going to drop him off at the shelter if somebody couldn't take him. I'm like, just bring him here. Just bring him here, and we'll meet him and see if he gets along with our dogs. And sure enough, he got along with everybody, and my husband took one look at him. He's like, I can't let him go. I was like, yes, you're such a sucker. So he came home and lived with us. He actually came to us as Harley, but we already had a dog named Harley, so we renamed him Copper. And he's just the best dog we've ever had. And when we're out in the garage, he wants to be out there with us. He doesn't like to be tied up, so he'll just lay in the driveway or lay in the garage. And we were toying around with some different business names, and I'm like, you got the cutest mascot right there. I'm like, come on, we could just use his face. So I sent him, some preliminary logos while he was at work one day. I said, what about Garage Dog Woodcraft? And it was just this picture of a Basset Hound, because he's a St. Bernard Basset Hound mix, so he's an odd combination. So he's like, yeah, that one works.
It works.
We ended up Garage Dog Woodcraft, and Copper's kind of our mascot.
Garage Dog.
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. So I was wondering, could you potentially see yourself as partnering with an established business to kind of promote your brand?
As in like a storefront selling our products? Yeah. Possibly. We have entertained that thought. We've also entertained doing some kind of craft fairs or flea markets in the area. A lot of the flea markets around here do support local businesses and craftsmen like ourselves. As of right now, I don't know that we have the capacity to be able to do that, just because it's me and him, and we're raising 3 kids and doing life.
Right.
But maybe down the road, when they're a little bit older and we're a little bit more established, yes, we could potentially do that as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yes, sir.
So, like, what are your main products? Do you do like custom kitchen cabinets and everything, like pretty much anything that?
We don't do kitchen cabinets. We do have the ability to do that. It's not something we've done yet. We have hung stock cabinets and done all the molding and trim and everything for that. But our main focus is home furniture and home decor. So we do a lot of tables and benches, shelving units, things like that. We have some signature reclaimed pallet wood shelves that has been a really big hit. We've sold 25 or 30 of them in different sizes. But usually our customer base, somebody will email us and say, hey, I have a picture of this. Do you think you could make it? And 9 out of 10 times it's a yes. We had somebody who purchased a really large dining room table and 2 benches from us last summer, and she had purchased a shelf that hung on the wall, and it had metal piping on the sides. She couldn't find one big enough to go over a cabinet that they bought to use as a buffet for their dining room as well. She's like, what do you think about this? I'm like, well, Garrett knows how to weld. I'm like, I'm sure he could figure it out, and sure enough, he did that one too.
Wow.
So it's a big shelving unit with metal piping, and it's flat stock, just bent into the shape that matched the other shelf. So.
Do you do banquets?
We could do a banquet. It's really just, there's not a lot that we haven't been able to figure out. So we usually tackle whatever comes in front of us.
So here's a big question I have. Okay, so we'll do one more question, and then I gotta wrap it up. Wrap it up. So.
No, it was a pretty quick question. I was just wondering, how many hours a week would you guys say you put into this thing?
Good question.
Usually it's a daily thing. I spend Probably 2 to 3 hours a day while I'm caring for our 2-year-old at home, just following up on emails and looking for leads, things like that. Garrett spends a lot of time in the shop. A lot of times he'll come home from his 8-hour shift, hang out for about a half hour, and then go out to the garage. So we could put in anywhere from 0 hours a day to 5 or 6 hours a day. It just depends on what we need to get out the door and what at what point in the process we are.
Good stuff, good stuff. So this was awesome. I love it. I usually end these meetings, we end these meetings with this one question right here. So knowing then what you know now, especially as it relates to starting a business and even the short experience you've had now, if you were sitting here year one again and having in an entrepreneurship club meeting, what would you tell your younger self?
Honestly, if it was a year from now, I'd say don't wait to make your website live. I waited a while because I thought it needed to be perfect before I put it up there. I wouldn't wait on that. If it was me a few years ago, I'd say finish your education. It makes life a lot easier. You hear your parents stay in school. Raising kids and trying to start a business, we're doing life so backwards right now. It's always been like a maze of how are we going to make this work? How are we going to do that? So if you have the ability to get your education out of the way, even if it's just your associate's degree right now or your bachelor's, if you have the ability to get that out of the way now, get it out of the way while you can. And if you run into an obstacle, I ran into a lot of obstacles and couldn't find the funding to finish my bachelor's degree. And that's one reason why I stopped. If you guys can get around those obstacles and figure out a way to fund it, do it, because it will make your life so much more simple.
Good stuff, good stuff. Let's give Katelyn a hand, folks. And those of you watching on YouTube World, I want to thank you for being with us at another episode of the CODEC Show. Next show will be at the Maker Market on April 11th. We look forward to you being a part of our show then as well. Until then, have a great day.